Well, that was intense. Ambulance comes to us from legendary director Michael Bay and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and Isa Gonzalez. And it tells the story of two robbers stealing an ambulance after their heist goes awry. Now I'm going to be completely honest. Was I looking forward to this movie? Not so much. The real thing that got me interested in this movie was Jake Gyllenhaal, who is arguably my favorite actor ever. But then, closer to the movie's release date, I heard little buzz about this movie, and it started to get really good buzz. A lot of people were liking it, and I was like, okay, this might be a good movie. Because you really never know with Michael Bay. After seeing the movie, I loved 75% of it. 25% of it got me really frustrated. I want to say I loved this movie as a whole, but I'm not there yet. I will say the movie has some great performances. You got Jake Gyllenhaal, who really doesn't give a bad performance, let's be honest. He is unhinged in this movie. His character is absolutely and obviously so stressed out of his mind. And Gyllenhaal delivered that great performance. And then you have Yahya Abdul-Mateen II giving an excellent performance as well. Isa Gonzalez too, just really delivering these great performances. I can't preface that enough. Not only do the performances help the movie overall because you can attach to them, but their characters are well-rounded and they're solid characters that, like I said, you can attach to. While I might have preferred the movie to just go straight into the heist, I think that would be really cool. Michael Bay decided to use a smart decision, made a smart decision to take 15-20 minutes to figure out who these characters are rather than just like throwing you into it. So you take that first couple minutes to figure out, okay, who are we rooting for, what's going on here, and then it goes into the straight up heist. And speaking of the heist, let's just jump straight into that. The heist and everything following that up until it pretty much ends, that is tension-filled masterwork. I never thought I would be saying masterwork in the same vein as Michael Bay, but there really isn't a dull moment. There are too many times when you have thrillers that take scenes that are pretty much just throwaway scenes. It doesn't really feel like much is happening. Yes, they might be growing the characters, but here, you're still on the chase while you're growing the characters. Nothing really stops. You just keep on firing on every cylinder. And in that sense, it very much so made me think of Speed. Like, that's how well it was done. The heist leading up to the big chase that really is the movie, it's like straight out of GTA. If you love GTA, you will have a lot of appreciation for what they did in the heist. It's a complete adrenaline rush. Michael Bay completely injects the adrenaline and it doesn't stop. Even going back to our characters, there's a nice family foundation that is set up at the beginning. So then while you're on the chase, you can feel for the characters like I mentioned. Going into this movie knowing what Michael Bay was going to do with his typical weird shots and just off-putting direction at times. So just know that this is definitely a Michael Bay movie, and if you've seen any of his movies, you'll know what I mean by that. But I think my only real nitpick with his direction here is it's filled with drone shots that are totally unnecessary. Someone gave Michael Bay a drone and he just went buck wild. I saw in an interview that he actually obviously had professionals on set doing all the drone works and stuff like that, but his idea of just putting it in this movie is unnecessary. And if you're someone that can get motion sickness, you'll probably have a hard time with this movie. Especially in IMAX or 4DX, this movie is gonna make you sick most likely. I mean, I'm someone that doesn't have that really affect me all too much, but I found myself being like, okay, I'm getting a little dizzy here. But now let's get into my problems with the movie. One thing that wasn't too much of a problem for me, I'll start off with this, is the jokes. Again, it's a typical Michael Bay movie. It's gonna have weird jokes that are kind of just thrown in there. Especially there's one very intense scene in the beginning of the movie, and then as soon as the intense scene's over, we cut to a joke. It's just odd. I'll say while I laughed, a majority of the jokes we could have done without. They're kind of just there to like lighten up the mood, but they're not really necessarily needed in a movie that's just an action thriller. And then there are some really ridiculous moments that just have you going, what is this? I mean, there's one moment during the big chase where they decided to add a dog into the scene, and it just feels very weird. And I noticed that if you pay close attention, there's actually someone holding the dog while the scene is going on. So it's like, there's someone holding that dog. But anyway, it's just like odd stuff like that that just makes you go like, what are we doing here? And then even going more into the ridiculous moments, my biggest issue with the movie. At the end, after everything is really slowing down and we're getting somewhere, we're getting closer to the end of the movie, Stockholm Syndrome starts to kick in with the writing, and I just can't get on board with that. As soon as it even started to get in the Stockholm Syndrome territory, I just really started to shake my head. It's hard because I get what they're trying to do and the message they're trying to convey, but it's really hard because you can't really sympathize with that. Here's the thing, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner within this whole Stockholm Syndrome, and there's a hard way to just get out of it. So in that regard, I just wish the writing was a little bit better. I'm just really frustrated because the movie is, a majority of it, it's really solid and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But then there's just this big chunk of it that I was very frustrated by. And the movie's just definitely too long as well. Could have been an hour 30, maybe, that would have been golden. Hour 45, I think, is a solid endpoint. This movie is almost 2 hours and a half. When it comes down to it, the performances are superb. The movie has some real emotion with the characters, and they're very much so characters that you can see yourself in, and characters that you can latch onto. And the 75% of this movie that I loved is the tension-filled, really nice way of building this heist that's going on to have you on the edge of your seat. This movie really is Michael Bay at his best and at his worst. I'm gonna give Ambulance a B-. I definitely think this movie deserves a positive grade because I really enjoyed that 75% of it, but it's not without its problems, and that's why I can't do it any higher than that. But guys, if you've seen Ambulance, make sure to let me know down below what you thought of it. Thank you so much for watching this review, and if you did enjoy it, consider giving it a like as well as subscribing and hitting that notification bell to get notified whenever new videos like this go live. As always, look forward to more videos coming soon. My name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.